So, Thomas, you are the CEO and co-founder of Nodalview, a company redefining the way real estate is listed online, right?
Exactly.
You know, we do have something for you today. This is the rocket.
Nice.
You know? How do you like the rocket?
It's my favorite emoji.
The rocket is an object which allows to reach a high speed thanks to propulsion. Your career path has inspired us to create this object, which we think suits you well. In a rocket, can we try to aim for the star?
Aim for the moon. For me, the first time that you really start looking for a board, it's when you have external investors that come in. At least that's the way it was for Nodalview.
Is it the right moment?
I think it's probably too late.
Yeah,
you should actually do it a bit before. If I would do it again, I would start having a formal board. And at least to create a board to create that strategic vision.
Yes.
The board for me is a moment where you reflect on your long-term strategy, and I think if you don't, and having these board meetings is actually super valuable because you take a step back, you de-zoom, and you set the strategic mission and also the objectives on the long term. So I think you need to gather people around the table that can bring something to the company. So again, depending on what phase of the startup you're in, that need can be expertise. It will actually always be expertise, but it can be expertise and it can be money. It can be capital, it can be knowledge. But gathering around the table a person who can have a truly added value to the company, and that's often why I seek people in the board that are very experienced and that have a lot of knowledge to share. Someone who helps founders or CEOs navigate a long-term journey, which is the startup journey, right? It's having the rocket aim for the moon, and I think it's also something that reassures founders. I think that's super important, and it should definitely be someone who pushes you to go to the extra level. What people often think is the investors and the founding members don't have the same interest, but actually they do. It's something that's important also when you build your board, is to find people with who you want to build a trustworthy relationship. I think behind the board member, it's more important to choose the company that is being represented by that board member as a shareholder, of course. And what you want is you want to have a solid company with who you have good relationships, because the board, so typically a board meets between 4 to 12 times or 10 times per year, but actually you see your board much more often. I have much more discussions with the board outside of the boards than during the boards, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty important to say.
That's super important.
Yes.
And that's actually, when you have a good relationship, is when you can go to your board members as advisors outside of the board meetings themselves. But I think the true question is, before understanding if you need money or not, it's understanding who will bring me that money.
Sure.
And today, if you're in a position where you can choose, and I think the strategy of every startup founder should be to be in a position where he can choose his investors.
Do startups need a tool to manage a board, you think?
I think there is a lot of communications between board members and managers that are running the company, and it's very asymmetrical, right? And it's also timing-wise, it's also very async, and it's something that new investors look into a lot, right? They ask, one of the first things they ask is, can I have the board minutes? Can I have your board presentation? Can I have all the information? And I think it's a bit of a trouble, a bit like, do you have a shared drive? How often do you share
need
stuff?
To look for
and probably a lot of information is probably getting lost also, because there's a lot of back channels.
Security, it's the company fortress you're sharing, in a way. Okay.
So yeah. I would always choose the people behind the money before the money. Fit is always the most important thing. And then board transparency, I think that also helps.
Board transparency.
Building trust with board members is super important. And being transparent, and board members know when things go, or know that things can go wrong. And it's important to be super transparent in those moments also, to really have to have the board have your back. I think that's super important.
Thomas, thank you.
Thank you.